Spirit picked, you have to worry less about, or Spirit and Sand King picked, so you have to worry less about heroes like Nyx and Night Stalker, and some just of the like traditional Coddle counters.
Usually when Coddle gets picked, I feel like it's a vulnerability. I think about all the ways that it's going to be easy to kill Coddle, but when it's like magic nukers like Earth Spirit and Sand King, it just looks like such a solid pick here. But we'll see once they pick actual physical damage heroes. Maybe I'm kind of looking at a TA on Newbee, and I feel like that's the pick right now. I feel it's very good against Coddle. You can burst him down really fast. It's decent against Lifestealer. Maybe it's too early to pick it. But
Yeah, I'm a big fan of TA, and I think in the right game, TA can be like one of the best heroes and definitely one of the best picks. But
it's a 4th or 5th pick, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a late pick for sure. And in this game, Newbee does have the last pick. Was that like once again? So EG took first pick, right? Both games. That's what's happening.
Yes.
Okay. So maybe teams are valuing second pick, or I mean second pick. I don't know. Like just thinking about it to myself, I think second pick seems better.
Why?
Just because you have that last pick. You get to see everything on the board, and then you get to pick.
Especially when you've got a plan like Sumail, where you could, in theory, just leave it until the last pick and give him an advantage.
Yeah, that being said, like it depends on what heroes Sumail's playing. If he's playing heroes like Alchemist and Invoker, maybe saving that hero for last isn't totally necessary. And if you're comfortable first picking Lifestealer, maybe you don't need to. I mean, I don't think a last pick Puck for EG really kind of like changed their game, right? Like it wasn't like a game-winning last pick Puck. I mean, it was good. He played well.
I mean, it worked out.
It's just Puck isn't that hero that's gonna. Oh shit! They picked Puck. Like
we lost.
We have nothing now.
Oh no, it's Amiibo.
Yeah, whereas like the Naga can be that hero.
Yeah.
And we saw Morphling yesterday from IGV against EG. That was like, Morphling, big problems.
Yeah, very good against Elk. Jug, pretty safe pick here. It took a long time to draft it, but just good against Lifestealer basically.
Jug's one of the few carries along with Lifestealer now, whereas Lifestealer wasn't there before, but he's one of the few carries you can pick really early and be like, okay, we can find a place for him in the game and he's going to be effective, whether it's in mid or the safe lane, the healing ward and the magic community and just the high like physical damages. And
I haven't seen the stats on it, but generally he's picked 3rd.
Yeah.
Especially at this tournament as well.
The 3rd pick is a really hard pick, just because you go through this 2 phases of picking 2 heroes, and then you have 4 more bans, which are just like kind of almost like, what do you not want to play against? There's not really
shot
like
in the dark, really.
Yeah, it's really a shot in the dark. And then the 3rd pick is like what can we pick without revealing too much?
Especially when EG has 3 picks left in their draft here. To grab something that's counterable as your 3rd pick would be dangerous.
The one thing here is that they made the decision to pick Juggernaut over their 5 position hero. So I'm interested to see what kind of 5 position they think is important to save in place of taking a 3rd.
That'll be a crit Tusk, I guess.
Think so?
Could be Zai. I think I've seen Zai playing it a lot.
These guys play the same heroes, which is funny.
Yeah,
because
I love the crit Tusk.
So Crit's the captain.
I know, but I only picked it up because Cap in the hallway yesterday teased crit a little bit. Are we going to see a Tusk going?
Yeah,
he was like,
but Zai plays Coddle, so Zai plays Coddle for them, so I assume it will be crit Tusk.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen Crit play Coddle, but
I don't think I have. But I've seen Zai play
Yeah,
because
that was a fly here on OG anyways.
I do like Tusk here a lot. They can stop things like epicenter damage, Omni Slashes, like pull people into snowballs.
Okay,
they still get
go
Invoker.
Back for the Invoker as well, yeah. I was going to mention it had been banned. I mean, maybe Newbee look at it and go, no, it wasn't really that much of a problem. Maybe it was a draft issue rather than a player issue, but
I think it's
that's dangerous, isn't it?
It's dangerous for Newbee out, but I think it's less good here because they can lean like Juggernaut against it, and then if they do Earth Spirit Roam, it's pretty straightforward kill against the slow guy with no armor.
And what's the thinking behind the Warlock?
Lots of team fight.
Yeah.
Tusk rolls it in.
Yeah, just
another
Tusk.
Another like Lifestealer can't rage TP away. It just synergizes. They just have. I mean, now Newbee has a better team fight, right? EG kind of has this Coddle. They're going to be more reliant on slow pushing and disrupting team fights and kind of resetting based on Lifestealer's open wounds and rage cooldowns. And yeah, I'm not sure which way I lean right now, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm a huge believer in Tusk, to be completely honest. That hero is yet to prove to me that it's like a really strong, because it's been out of the meta for a long time.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
His talents have been ultra buffed repeatedly.
The Hurricane Pikes are less common now.
Yep. And have been nerfed.
Yeah, so like that was a huge problem for him as well. It was just like everyone has a 4-staff, and you snowball in, but you never really get to your target, and then you throw the
Yeah.
shards, and they're just, they walk over them.
Yeah, I mean, it's what, mid 2015? We've seen a lot of Tusk.
I'm trying to think what was like the prevalent
Ooh,
tournament.
okay.
I
like,
remember it in the middle of the year.
It was like
2015.
it was
so
like
would have been
I think last year Liquid was like Jerax would play Earth Spirit or
Yeah.
Tusk almost every game.
Wasn't it TI5?
I think it was
I remember
TI5.
after
yeah.
TI5 or
Yeah, I think
TZ
it
went
was
like
TI5.
stream Tusk and tagged up his garter all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
that was,
That's
so
right.
that was
C-Deck.
CDC, right? So,
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we-
TI5.
Yeah.
so I guess they're doing dual offlane Tusk Earthshaker. I was wondering if they do some kind of combo like that, because Newbee.
Cool. Earthshaker.
It's very
hype.
old schoolish.
I kind of like it.
Yeah.
They could definitely punish the hell out of Warlock. Like it's an area where Warlock's actually really vulnerable as a safe lane support. If they have good gap close and he gets blocked in, he doesn't have very much armor. He's got good HP, but
I love Earthshaker. What a fun hero. He's like not very like he hasn't been
Wow.
like super good for a long time.
yeah.
So
But
Newbee,
it's fun,
Newbee have gone the Alchemist route, which we saw yesterday from EG didn't work out particularly well. But
Lifestealer actually does pretty well against Alchemist, just
You
because
like
you
that,
can
okay?
rage and you don't have to worry about the radiance in missing attacks, and you can you have a lot of physical damage burst to put him down. But the later this game goes, I think the harder it's going to get for EG, unless we see that Sumail show on Invoker again.
Yeah.
which we could do. Thank you very much, gents. Let's head back to our commentary team for Game 2 and find out whether Evil Geniuses can secure their first 3 points of DAC.
Thank you very much, Paul, and the panel, and hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Game 2, EG facing off against Newbee. Lyrical and Cap going to be bringing you the action this time around, and Tusk is back, Earthshaker's back. We're
Yeah.
back in the meta. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure because most of the time Tusk has been, when I saw the Earthshaker, I was like, oh, they're going to be abusing the pull, right?
Right.
It's what Earthshakers have been picked up recently, have been doing, but that would leave our Tusk in the off lane, and we really haven't seen that Tusk take a core position, despite some theory crafting. I've heard some people. Otherwise, it does seem Tusk is pretty solidly set as a support. So I'm not fully set on what exactly this Earthshaker is going to be accomplishing for them. I did feel like they needed an initiator. I thought Bat Rider, Nyx Assassin, those kind of were more traditional heroes that that were out there. But I don't know. Earthshaker just seems to give them good team fight. I think some of this is this idea of consistency that Evil Genius is bringing to them, which is like they're first picking the Lifestealer. Yesterday they were banning out the Lifestealer when they didn't have first pick. This time around they make sure that they have first pick, and they actually first pick up this Lifestealer because it seems like it's a hero that even if you counter it, it's still going to be impactful. And the same can be said of the Invoker as well.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Is like this is a hero that fits multiple scenarios and will always scale well with you into the late game and gives you adequate team fight. So this is a very similar lineup to game number 1 that we saw.
I'm very excited to see it, and it was fireworks in game number 1. Hoping to see a similar thing here as Kaka's already going to move out across the map, place down a couple of aggressive wards, it looks like, or maybe just defensively. But yeah, I think that there's a lot to be said for that. You've got two heroes here that if one starts to fall behind, let's say that the Lifestealer gets heavily pushed in the early phases, then Invoker can be the one that blows out, and on the other side of the fence, you've got a couple of different initiating heroes here that can help out the Lifestealer bombs with Arteezy too. So a well-rounded draft, I would say, from Evil Geniuses. On the other side, for Newbee, it's going to be an Alchemist show again. This is a hero that has had a pretty abysmal win rate so far in this tournament. Do you think that that's mainly based off of the plays? Like, is Alchemist still a good hero?
I think people have just managed to adjust to Alchemist. There are certain heroes that come back into the meta time and time again, and you will see for probably the first month that that kind of hero, that kind of style, always has a really good win rate. So, for example, a Spectre already, Spectre anytime comes back into the meta, you'll see this spike where Spectre is very strong, has a high win rate, because teams have kind of forgotten how to be able to play around and against a Spectre lineup. And I think Alchemist is kind of similar, and the decreasing win rate that we're seeing right now is the fact that teams have played against it so many times that they have adequately adjusted. I was thinking a little bit, I think that Newbee's last pick, there really wasn't too many options. I think it was either Naga Siren or Alchemist. Their lineup is pretty team fight heavy, but they didn't have the scaling necessary to beat out EG's Invoker Lifestealer core duo. So they had to get something that kind of changes it kind of flips the script, changes the idea about Dota. And both mid Naga Siren and Alchemist accomplish that for you. So I think in that regard, the Earthshaker would always be a strong pickup just because he gives you such strong, hard initiation.
Yeah, and it is sort of going to come at the cost of a little bit of an interesting one here. KP soloing the lane did come with the full poor man shield as well as a set of tangos for himself. And meanwhile, in the bottom lane, it's going to be both the Earth Spirit just sort of trying to zone out to the best of his abilities as well as Faith and deal with this Earthshaker who's basically just playing in the offlane role the whole time.
Yeah, I think KP very much expected to be dealing with a dual lane of Tusk and Lifestealer and having the Keeper of Light down in the bottom lane with the Earthshaker. But Universe, maybe he actually just wanted to be able to get the solo lane because he does the Fissure block. He gets a fast level 2 thanks to the creep equilibrium. In fact, he's even going to take a big creep. That's a good steal for Universe that will help him progress into the boots pretty quickly. So I think they just expected an aggro dual lane to start with, and then KP, his positioning was very heavily punished, right? He was so far forward, he's already used 2 burrow strikes, he's activated his early offlane shrine just by EG having Zai up at top to zone the Sand King early, because Sand King is a hero you don't want to give a free 1v1 or 1v2 against. He going against 2 melees and having early levels of Caustic Finale could be devastating.
Yeah, well, they're still going to keep a couple more right clicks here on a KP. They have shards to block him in, and we'll be able to just stick around here for a moment, not wanting to use a burrow strike there for that one. It is a little bit interesting, though. You take a look at the CS and the way that it's developed, and Earthshaker was sitting on the same CS as Juggernaut at this point, so the early laning phase going a hell of a lot better for EG than it was last time around. How different of the game is it going to be with an Alchemist as opposed to the Naga Siren in the mid lane, though?
It's not going to be too drastically different. I think the Alchemist peaks a little bit faster, and he hits a little bit more powerful of a peak, a little bit better team fight power and those sort of things. So we should see Newbee around 35-40 minutes kind of reach their maximum capacity in this game and try and end it out. And it's going to be a little bit less split pushy. But very minor differences across the board, I think.
Oh, Tusk, they're almost able to get a courier snipe, and now, seeing that KP's in the area, we'll see if they decide to go for it. Sunstrike coming in, Snowball to follow. They are going to maybe be able to get that kill. They try and turn it. Doesn't have enough mana for shards, though, and with the rotation in from Kaka, they're going to stop that kill from happening. No shrine to go to, but we'll use the salve. And maybe with a rotation in, they can make something happen. Doesn't look like they want to try for it. They're just going to force Tusk back.
I thought they were actually going to wait until he went for the pull on the neutrals to have the neutrals kind of help out in damage, but that would come at the risk of obviously maybe he'd be able to get the successful deny against the neutrals. They just really wanted to claim that first blood. And if they'd gotten on the Tusk, that would have been a big-time pickup. Tusk having early boots and Orb of Venom is notoriously hard to deal with. Offlaners can't actually utilize their offlane camps very easily because they're just going to be matched in a 1v1 so often with the Tusk harassing you down.
And I'm really, again, surprised at how much this Universe Earth Spirit's been able to get out of this laning phase, even without having that Tusk there. They stuck the Keeper of the Light down here in the bottom lane, obviously, but it's felt like EG has basically just had free reign to run around the map wherever they want to, and they're still, I would say, winning all of the lanes at this point.
Yeah, I would say this is a combination of the fact that they're doing an aggro dual lane, so what Zai's doing is he pushes out the wave with this Luminate Blast, and then he pulls the hard camp over and over. We saw this develop pretty early in 7.0. It's why Coddle and Dazzle were valued so highly. They're both aggro dual lane supports that push out the wave and take advantage of the hard camp pull. So this is why Earthshaker is able to get so much extra CS. And then the other factor is that if Earth Spirit isn't in lane, it's just a damage combo. But they have no stun between Juggernaut and Warlock. So you see Universe plays it very far forward, knowing that he can always fall back on a TP scroll if they go on it.
That's quite good, definitely. And now SC farming out the hard camp while this is all happening. You saw there that the Sand King and wanted to stack it earlier, but SC will still take that extra bit of farm for himself. And this is a hero that they need to keep the aggression on. Been left to his own devices so far. Is there really like much of a worry of him getting completely out of control in this game, or do you think that EG have the heroes to deal with him well?
You don't worry about it in the laning phase. It's kind of like a Storm Spirit. You try and rotate and kill him once before he hits level 6, but Storm Spirits and Alchemists, they've adjusted to that idea, and once they pick up usually level 5 or maybe even level 4.5, they'll immediately go jungle until they have 6. So you don't worry about it in the laning phase, but you will try and put pressure more as you start going into the mid game and try and slow down that Radiance timing. You're not going to prevent it entirely, obviously. It's going to be, again, looking very similar to the last game, where they didn't worry so much about the Naga Siren. They just kind of focused on their own farm and Invoker. Oh, no!
Just barely off the mark there with that Sunstrike. SC is still taking a lot of damage here, but Kaka is going to be there in position to help him out. It was interesting. Crit moved just into the mid lane, knew that he wanted to go over for that Alchemist because of that ward that was placed up on the high ground, giving them vision. But that did also tip them off, Newbee, to the fact that they were heading over in this direction.
Yeah, very, very smart. I like the fact that he went instead of offlane camp because, maybe they can catch KP here. He does have another Sandstorm, though. Never mind.
Oh, TP. Sunstrike come through. Oh, barely. And that was Infest used as well, correct? I believe it was. So.
Wow. That was damn close. I thought he was just going to kind of Sandstorm. But if he did, he would have been Illuminate blasted and Sunstruck down. So it was smart of him to TP out like that.
Yeah. And again, the story for me is I feel like we've seen the offlane Earthshaker oftentimes just not get a ton, but this game he's been able to have a great time for himself with the help of that Coddle, as you were mentioning, and getting the pulls constantly out there. How much does an Earthshaker picking up an early Blink Dagger change the dynamic of this game? Is that like just the be-all, end-all for EG at this stage?
It's big, but it's not necessary, right? The timing of the Blink Dagger, say, with Slardar Lifestealer strategies, very important, right? The lineup just doesn't come online until you have that Blink Dagger. For the Slardar. The Earthshakers, it's nice if it happens earlier, but before that time, we do have the Tusk, who is a secondary vehicle for the Lifestealer to work with. It's kind of similar to Earth Spirit. In that regard, it's a nice support initiator that lets the Lifestealer move around the map early whenever he wants to. Arteezy's also having a much better time because he's not facing an aggro tri-lane, he's just kind of free farming. He's going to have a faster armlet, so we may see a faster rotation by him, but he does have that armlet joining the Tusk and trying to put some pressure on preferably the Alchemist. Juggernaut is kind of a dead lane hero, and it's kind of hard to gank because of the Blade Fury magic immunity, but maybe they can get a surprise stun combination that would bring down U9.
Yeah, you can see the way that might work out. A long-range fissure, a snowball to follow, and if you get that level 6 up on Tusk at a reasonable time, he's still going to be a ways away from it, but there's something there eventually. Not to mention maybe point in the Earthshaker to get into range for a follow-up Enchant Totem. Kind of the ghetto Blink Dagger, if you will. Yeah,
absolutely. Even just blocking him off with the Fissure and with the Ice Shards and allowing the Lifestealer just to right-click the Jug while he's spinning can still be a win condition for them on the kill. So a very aggressive maneuver here by EG. I like the fact that they're wrapping so deep around behind mid, trying to catch one of these supports in the process. They want to be able to get this pick off and then turn it into a push onto this mid-tier 1 tower, because it's already chipped down to 500 HP.
Well, they're right there on top of Kaka. He's going to immediately get out, and now EG call the panic button, but U9 rotating in. Turning around. Go for the Echo Slam Universe. Make it happen, baby. And now KP, he's going to jump there onto the Tusk. So Crit in a little bit of trouble there, trying to go for a little bit more with this Enchant Totem. Not quite in range to block it off, but they have been able to find another kill on Sumail. Kaka dropping low, and now the Burrow Strike onto 2. Is it going to be enough damage, though, to find any of these kills? Crit walking away is going to be alive. They're going to take down KP. Triple kill for Sumail. Oh, he has had a hell of a game. Almost there with the Sunstrike, but not quite online. Sumail hits a Midas on his way out. Give me that farm.
That would have been a sick ultra kill, but Sumail, I mean, it's hard to see how Evil Genius is going to lose this game because they came back from game 1 after such a bad start, and game 2 they're off to a fantastic start. It's a very stark contrast to game number 1. Sumail starting off with a triple kill. Arteezy's totally free farming. They're making a lot better use of their supports. Remember last time we were watching the Earth Spirit just not really do anything because there was only one real lane that was viable for ganking. This time around, you can feel like the Tusk has a lot more opportunities. And a lot of it's just kind of lane setup. Evil Geniuses probably learned from game 1 and said, we recovered and we won that game, but we do need to shore up our laning phase a bit more.
I mean, talk about a way to start your day number 2, too. After the rough start that they had in day number 1, looking quite strong against the top team in the group. And, man, that call by Universe, we're going back in, baby, taking them down.
Yeah, that was sick, playing off of the high ground advantage and knowing that they're fogged up. And so right as Jug gets over that cliff, he just runs straight into the Earthshaker like that. It was a sick call by Universe to make that turnaround play. And as a result, Evil Geniuses, they are very far ahead in net worth. Considering the fact they're dealing with an Alchemist, having any kind of net worth lead is good, but it's a pretty dramatic one at that. 2,500 lead for them.
Yeah, at this stage, and it's something that's going to become more and more pronounced. Sumail finding himself another kill there in the mid lane, just a quick Sunstrike, and those can happen at any point in time. Quite a tough one indeed. It did look like there's, again, some movement around the Alchemist trying to find farm wherever possible. He does have his armlet done and building towards that Radiance. I mean, is this something where EG are going to need to be worried about it, or do you think that just because of the tempo they're playing, it's not going to matter?
Oh, Universe.
Maybe going to die here. Sunstrike
Yeah,
not able
done.
to kill Kaka, but we do also have a rotation in from the Tusk with the Lifestealer inside of him towards mid. And I don't know if they're going to catch SC, though.
You know, Evil Genius is, I've had actually notorious at having a hard time against Naga Siren and Alchemist drafts, but they've really done like a lot of homework in that regard. Look at it, they constantly are rotating into the offlane camp area. They're going to find the Alchemist here and bring him down, it looks like.
Sunstrike comes through and that finds the kill. Sumail, he's gotten a lot of gold at this early stage. I think, does he have all of their kills at this point? 5-0-0.
Yeah, he does. This guy is, he's halfway through an Aghanim Scepter at 12 minutes.
Yeah. I don't know if it's just Invoker or if it's the rest of his team setting him up for it, but he has certainly came to play today, and it is making a spectacle of it.
I do feel like SC looks a little bit awkward on some of these heroes like Naga and Alchemist. Like that, he did not respect the rotation from EG because KP knew. He knew those heroes were missing. He knew like it was about the armlet timing. He knows this is about the time that you're going to see a rotation. So he had to have made that call.
All right, a lot dropped here for Universe. They'll find the kill. Epicenter down as well as Omni, but Newbee, they just need to get something going for themselves here. Oh,
0% kill participation, 100% for Sumail.
I mean, that's the way these heroes work, though, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah, sure.
But yeah, it's definitely a much cleaner performance from Sumail in this game. And maybe it's the comfort as well. You talk about that and the way that these two playmakers like to make it work. Kaka setting up on Sumail here. Still quite hard to find initiation, get a kill, but if they could somehow find it, it would be huge.
Free safe lane tower going to be given away probably on both sides. I'm not sure if you really want to head up to that top lane. It would be ill-advised to try and scramble to save that tower when Newbee's already preemptively set up on it. So I think you just kind of chill out. Universe just needs to farm up his Blink Dagger, utilize the push at top lane, and then also some of the jungle. Like EG, they did really well for the laning phase, but they don't need to get too aggressive at this point. Just, Universe wants to fight this one.
Splits the uprights with the fissure, is still in a little bit of trouble. They've got the spin forward, trying to bring him low. He had a really good start to the game, but now they get the recall in on Arteezy. They drop the Echo Slam, able to turn it. They take down U9. Well played. KP hiding in the trees and should be able to get his TP out. But that was a quick turnaround.
Yeah, that was it was kind of the unique situation, I guess, with the Keeper of the Light, because they only TP one hero in. Universe, he just walks into lane. They only TP Zai in, but Zai is bringing someone else in, that's Arteezy, into that fight, so it is kind of a unique way to be able to defend a tower rather than mass TP rotations. But it was also just a lack of damage, because the laning phase has gone so poorly for Newbee. They start going on that Earthshaker, and I was just like, they're doing nothing to him. Like, the spin is doing nothing because Universe is actually pretty high level. He has 1,100 HP at this point, and he's got some extra armor thanks to both the Stout Shield and the Iron Talons. So, Crit is going to find an opening on Fate here. That's another free pickoff.
Yeah, nice little pickup here. And Crit does not super high level as of yet, but they're actually going to be able to get the Courier as well. SC trying to turn and fight this one, gets the stun, and is going to be able to find the kill with U9 onto that Tusk, picking up the Sigil to boot.
Small little turnaround, nothing big there for Newbee. They're still very much concerned that they're losing map control. A lot of this jungle area is being taken away from SCC. He's been ganked a couple times in that offlane jungle area. Now his other primary camps are being taken away. It's like the 4 safe camps that Alchemist should always be able to rely on. Is these 2 camps next to the tier 2 at mid, and then the 2 camps in the offlane. Like, he should always just be able to cycle through mid lane and then those 4 camps, but Evil Geniuses is cutting his farm down basically in half with their just kind of parking these 2 cores in the mid lane and hovering over the jungle area as well.
Yeah, they leave one small creep in that camp and then also block it off with a ward, I believe, as well, over to the side. So just a lot of hate thrown there for the Alchemist. Oh, it's not blocked off, just scouting out the area. But Nonetheless, this rotation in from Newbee, if they could find Sumail, would be tremendous for their ability to get back into this. Smoke not broken. They will be spotted if they're here, but it looks like EG very cognizant that something could be going, and they're backing out.
It says a lot about the fact that Newbee try and make an aggressive smoke maneuver before the Blink Dagger's up. It says that SCC doesn't feel very comfortable with the space that he has to work with right now. He's like, guys, I need you to create space for me. So they're actually forcing KP to move around and try and make a play when he's sitting on 1,800 gold leading into that Blink Dagger. And I'm not saying it's the wrong decision. I'm saying that Evil Genius is pressuring them so much that they're forcing maneuvers that Newbee just honestly don't want to make.
Yeah. And they broke the smoke there, come out. They see the rotation in. They're able to back out themselves. The Blink Dagger for Earthshaker gets done before the Sand King. Granted, they're both offlane players, but you would expect that the Sand King with Caustic, all those other abilities, could normally farm, but just shows how much they've been able to shut down and cause pressure onto this Newbee team.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, I would much rather deal with a Juggernaut in lane as an offlaner than a Lifestealer. I think that's another big advantage of Lifestealer is that he just, unless he's getting aggro tri-lane like by an Ursa or something like that, he should almost always be able to zone out and have a heavy impact, a detrimental impact on the offlaner's farms. So I guess it's not terribly surprising to me that Universe is able to pick up his Blink Dagger first, despite the fact that, as you're correct, Sand King should be able to farm faster.
Yeah. Alchemist does have his Radiance. It's at around the 15, 16-minute mark was when he got it done. The Blink Dagger also done on KP. So there's potential to take a fight here if they want to, but to me it just definitely feels like Newbee is going to be focused on trying to clear up their jungle a little bit, get themselves into position to just get some more farm on this out because he needs it.
EG are probably going to go for a pretty big smoke rotation here, I would imagine, with the Blink Dagger and RTZ having an Echo Saber as well as that armlet. Anybody they jump on, even the Alchemist, is probably just done. So,
yeah, they got Echo on top of it.
You know, this is the reason they're able to make these kind of plays, right, where they chill out with 3 heroes and set up a smoke. It's because Invoker's always pushing in a lane, especially when he gets these levels 15 and he has that extra Forge Spirit. One side lane is always pushed in because of Invoker. And then the other side lane, because you have a hero, a support hero like Keeper of the Light, he's always able to shove in a different lane. So there's 2 lanes that are constantly pressuring into.
Oh, they're on top of SC. They try and go for a counter gank, but they've already lost their Alchemist. And, well, it looks like that's going to be more dropping for Newbee. Snowball pulling in Arteezy with him. Kaka in trouble is going to drop. You mentioned how quickly it can happen. The Echo Slam from Universe combo together, and now they push back in the Warlock as well. Faith gonna fall, U9 getting chased down. There's the fissure, there's the right click. It's a team wipe. EG showing no mercy.
It does look like this is going to be just a very clean 2-0 for Evil Geniuses. They're even getting the extra kill, you could say, on the Warlock Golem. Another extra 100 gold, Roshan as well. Tier 2s are going to be free for the taking, and Alchemist is going to have no space to be able to farm around.
And KP trying to do whatever he can is going to drop. Oh,
no.
It interrupted. Sunstrike is going to connect. They throw in the boulder as well to try and stop this Roche, but it was never going to be enough. Get the Aegis.
You know, it's like already it feels like you're taking a big loss, having to use an epicenter on a Keeper of the Light, and you don't even get that 1 kill. You don't even get the epicenter off.
No. And you can see the idea there. Like normally baiting out an Alchemist or even just that smoke movement and thinking that they're going to be able to go forward into the jungle and then the Alchemist follows is a great play, but EG smoking it at the same time and just having more tools at their disposal to find the, yeah. Well, Sumail finds another kill in the meantime.
Another Sunstrike kill.
KP going down. Sumail's been playing out of his mind.
Yeah, Sumail Invoker. It puts on quite the show, and I think it definitely saved game number 1 for them, and this is just like the icing on the cake, you know? It's like the game isn't being won by the Invoker. He's just collecting all the kills that his team is setting up, you know? It's like, another freebie. Another freebie for him to work off of. He has Aghanim's Boots of Travel, Blink Dagger, working on a Scythe of Vice now, all before the 20-minute marker. This is, I think you're seeing a bit of a weakness. I think the draft was not great for Newbee, but I do think this is a potential weakness in them, is they need to enable KP. Because KP then enables the rest of the team by creating space for SCC as well as U9. I think U9, he's an exceptional carry player, very consistent, but he's not the kind of carry player that wins you games like these ones. You know, he's like the opposite of an Eternal Envy. He's not willing to make those like super hyper aggressive plays that can change the nature of the game, even if they are inherently risky. I think that's just against his nature. He likes to be able to have the same kind of performances time after time, and they needed something to kind of change to flip the script. You know, we could kind of see where this game was going, and Newbee needed to try and change something rather than just kind of sitting back with the Alchemist and farming and waiting for EG to take the first steps.
Well, and maybe it's a hero selection thing, too. I know that in the past, KP playing Slardar was a lot of ways to help enable his team early, sprinting around the map and trying to help out the mid lane. But whatever the case ends up being, we're at a state now where EG are not going to be denied. Rage, Alacrity, everything thrown on top of Arteezy. He's just going to beat away at that tower. And it isn't even daytime at this point. You could maybe argue with a couple more minutes before that comes up that EG could wait for it, but I mean, they're just feeling so comfortable. They don't even feel the need to.
A little bit of tier 3 chip just to see if they can unlock the shrines with this Aegis. I'm not sure if they really plan on trying to actually take Rax's. It looks like they are going to give up on their endeavor here. They continue to sit around this top lane, but they're going to let Sumail push out that bottom and get the extra farm.
They can recall in a second, too.
Yeah, there's no need to speed this game up too much. It's like he's going to have Linken's pretty quickly. I'm not sure why he had Scythe queued up, because that didn't really make much sense to me. Linken's way better against the initiation of the Sand King. Block out that Burrow Strike.
Well, here we go. Tier 3 down, and Arteezy just going to hit away at the melee barracks now. Can back out after the Rage. And Newbee, they need to do something. Sitting here is not going to answer it, but there isn't really a great response in any fashion.
Yeah. EG know there's going to be probably some sort of epicenter play. It's going to be attempted.
Stun, silence. They force Arteezy fairly low there. And maybe just wait for daytime at this point or just fully back out.
The daytime would make a big difference, right? If you had that sustained from the Keeper of the Light as Luminate Blast, healing Arteezy up every single time he pushed into high ground, they could easily take melee Rax, or at least force Newbee into finally making that big play. But it's just not going to happen. EG, back up, take the Shrine. Daytime is up in another minute and a half, so there's no reason they can't just control the lanes again. Just like they did last time, have Sumail, like, push out bottom or something a little bit more before recalling him back.
Well, 100% kill participation for U9 looks good on paper. The only problem is they only have 3 kills.
Yeah.
So that one kind of hurts. It's a struggle. But again, movement in. They can keep the pressure on this tower. Thinking about the sort of macro sense of it, does this give you a lot more? I know that people were really concerned for EG going into day number 2. Or are your concerns alleviated a little bit here?
Not entirely, just because I think they're very similar to Liquid. I kind of took the time this morning to watch that IGV series that they had, and kind of similar to Liquid, it just seemed like they got a little sloppy. I had faith that they would be able to make the comeback, but this series alone does not prove much.
Oh, wow. When you lose a hero like that, well, Sumail is taking a Shrine on the other side of the map, and they're still keeping the lane pushed in top. There's just no momentum or any type of agency being felt right now from the side of Newbee. And a Rage up, Arteezy going to hit this. They're not able to manage to dodge away from that one. Melee Barracks about to die. They can back out, do it all again in a second, and now it's daytime as well, I do believe, in just a second here.
Yep. For whatever reason, the day-nighttime is always a little bit messed up by a few seconds, but we'll should have those healing Illuminate Blasts, so Evil Geniuses will just siege and siege and siege, and it's going to be Newbee forced into some big initiation, some big epicenter blink play or something like that. And EG, they're maintaining a very good spread. They have Arteezy on the front lines up here, right? And they usually have this spread across, where with their blink daggers and certain things like, say, Snowball, they're ready to jump inwards, but they're making sure that the epicenter blink forward play is not going to be very effective.
I mean, who's the hero to jump on if you're Newbee? Is it the Invoker, or do you have to go on like the saving hero with the Tusk? I feel like there's just too many targets to chase after. They're going to go onto the Earthshaker, at least to start it. They drop kill, but the Snowball, it's going to save him and pull him down to the south side. Meanwhile, Arteezy keeps on hitting onto the Alchemist, forces him to pop the Shrine, and EG can just reset. No Golem now.
Yeah, they wanted to stop the big initiator while simultaneously going forward with Chaotic Offering. It looks like it was kind of a two-pronged defense, but they're just not strong enough to contest either side, it looks like.
There is no answer in the least bit, and The blinding light pushback as well is going to keep U9 out of the fight throughout the whole course of this. And with the creep wave pushing in, time to go in for another one. Newbee, no answers in this.
Oh, nice
Epicenter.
burrow.
Okay, burrow strike as well. A huge combination comes out, and SC is actually going to be able to find at least two, a third one as well. Okay, that works. Arteezy still hitting the tower, though.
Can they actually deal with Arteezy? Can they bring him down? He's just going to jump inside a creep and walk away. So, you know, it was a great team fight. It did a lot for them, but it's still 2 lanes of Raxes down. And you did not get, like, those are nice kills, but it wasn't like a huge windfall of gold or anything like that, right? Because they didn't kill either one of the big cores. So it was a great burrow strike, but we needed that, like, 2 lanes of Raxes ago to really stop this push. Evil Geniuses are probably just going to reset pretty soon, take Aegis, as Roshan is going to be up in the next 3 or 4 minutes. Take that. And they're also not on a real big timeline. It's not like they're thinking, oh god, the Alchemist is just about to come online. He's really not. He just has the Radiance Manta. He's working towards an AC right now because he needs a fighting item rather than the Octarine, which would give them more split pushing power.
Well, they're still ready to go up at a moment's notice if they need to. And you know, it being a long day and all, maybe want to finish this one off before too long. So they're going to go forward, hit this melee barracks. Arteezy, really any way to stop him, and that one's going to go down. Omni Slash going to be dropped. They hit a big combination, but he's able to get the toggle off. There's going to be the Echo Slam. Fatal Bonds onto all of them for EG, but it does not look like it's going to be enough. And GG gets called. That's it. They're over.
EG, they came back. I mean, theoretically, Newbee should be the stronger team, right? In comparison to IGV, Newbee have been the top Chinese team for such a long time that Evil Geniuses dropping those 2 games against IGV and then coming into the series against Newbee, I'm sure there's a lot of people who had a lot of doubts. You know, It's like, is EG even going to be able to pull off a single win here? But quite the contrary, they managed to 2-0 Newbee just like that.
It feels like a new EG today compared to what we saw yesterday. And maybe if they could get those games back against IGV, it wouldn't be looking such a different scenario. Meanwhile, on the side of Newbee, a little bit of a frustrating start to the day for them, I'm sure. Do you think that they're still feeling okay about their chances? They think that they're still sitting around the top side of the group?
Yeah, I mean, just because it's like Evil Genius is the one team I think you can say, okay, it's acceptable if we lose them. We'd like to be able to tie, but as long as we, 2-0 the other people in our group, and I think Newbee is capable of doing that, maybe not with this form, but I think they are capable of doing that, they still have a decent shot at it. So if I was them, I wouldn't be too discouraged. After all, it is just the group stage, still plenty of tournament ahead.
Sounds good. Well, everybody, that's going to do it for us. We're going to